blast off. The Eagle has landed, and it is time for another episode of A Little Off the Top with your host,
Hannah.
And Noah.
Absolutely.
So glad to be back this week. This is the closest to release that we have ever recorded an episode. It is 7 o'clock on Sunday evening, and this episode comes out at midnight 30. So, I'm just going to be editing all night.
Yeah, sure you are.
To get this out right under the wire. No. But we've had a busy week and kind of got away from us. Got a great episode coming up this next week.
Mm-hmm.
Got a recording session scheduled with some friends.
A recording session?
A recording session. One thing I've learned in music and radio is that if you're messing up on your words or your notes, whatever the case, just keep moving and act like it didn't happen. And a lot of people will just go, did he say recording?
That's the number one rule in any kind of acting or public speaking.
Yeah. Don't
bring attention to it. Just keep going.
Yeah, I remember I was in band when I was younger, and like I'd be practicing stuff at home and I'd mess up and I'd stop. And my grandpa was like, don't do that. Don't make that a habit. For yourself, because half the time, especially if it's it's in a crowd or something like that, they won't even notice.
Exactly.
You know? And I took that same philosophy when it comes to like performing in places and stuff like that. It's just kind of like, just keep going. You know, if you mess up, don't bring attention to it. Don't stop. Don't just move on. Keep moving. So.
Yeah. I mean, I used to do theater, especially in high school, and then turn around and went back to those same competitions and judged.
Yeah.
And when I was a judge, I would judge people higher if they did, like if they were off just a little bit on their script, but they continued on in such a way that it wasn't like a very noticeable hiccup. They weren't stopping and pausing. Like if they ad-libbed or kept going, and especially if they were with someone and it was enough to keep the other person going, like I scored them a little bit higher than I would someone who, stopped and made it noticeable.
Right.
And that was always one of the, we had to give the constructive criticism where you'd say something really nice and then kind of give them like a breakdown in the middle and then, the nice sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
And that was always something that if they did a good job with that, I always brought that to their attention just to be like, hey, that was very well done. I noticed it because there was a script in front of me, but I guarantee you nobody in the audience did.
Sure.
So.
Sure. That makes sense to me. I mean, I have definitely been in competitions for music and stuff like that, and it was kind of the same thing. It's like, just keep trucking, and the judges, if they even notice, a lot of times you're in competitions, especially music competitions. It's not necessarily like a specific music competition. It's a talent competition, mm-hmm. and the judges are not always musical people. They just know what sounds good, type of thing, but they don't know. So they could have just thought, oh, he was doing was that some light jazz? Did you just do me some light jazz?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Do you know that video?
No, but I mean, yes and no. I've heard people reference it, but I don't know if I've seen the original.
Hold on, let me pull it up for just a second. Hold on. All right, I got it pulled up here. One random note: it's nice to have headphones again this episode because last week was our first recording in our new location, and we didn't have headphones, and it just felt so naked.
We realized we left them at home.
Yep. It felt so naked. But anyway, so it's this video where this guy opens up a glove box. Mm-hmm. That's setting the scene. It's a glove box, and this is the sound it makes whenever he opens it. So Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up here.
Did you just play some light jazz?
And that's the entire video. And it's focused on the glove box the whole time. So he opens it, and it does kind of sound like a little riff of a saxophone.
Was that the Vine days?
Probably so. Yeah, I feel like I probably saw it on a Vine compilation or something along those lines, you know. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about today. Although talking about Vines could be a fun episode.
I didn't really get into Vine.
But you've watched like Vine compilations, haven't you?
I mean, I guess.
I could teach you about Vine and give you some classic Vine memes and play them with no context here on the podcast so that people just hear the line and they're like, I remember that. Or they go, stupid kids. But I think most of our audience is right around our age, a little younger, a little older. And so our biggest fan who gives us weekly random texts about it, I'm not going to name him. He gets too many shouts out here. He's going to have to start paying for the advertisement. But anyway, he definitely he's a little older than us, but he probably knows a lot of these memes due to Nick and also being friends with me and the rest of the group. So Anyway, how about we just get to the meat of our episode, though?
Okay.
All right.
List it. List it real good. List it real good. Yeah.
We're pulling out a new segment here called List It Real Good.
You had to pitch me up so high for that. I can't get that level of squeak if I wanted to.
Well, I really didn't pitch you up that much. It was just 4 semitones, which isn't too bad. It's not even a full octave. It's not even. Well, it's I guess it's a little bit. It's like a half octave up. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We are here to do this new segment called List It Real Good. And this is definitely a segment that's going to come back. If they could see video context, they would see my head shaking. And it definitely was not an excuse to make a new bumper.
Well, we could totally come up with other things, other lists. It doesn't have to just be this particular topic.
I suppose so, but we also kind of do the draft, which is already a thing. And so...
I mean, but it's not... Anyway, okay.
Speaking of the draft, I just wanted to throw that audio in there because I'm so glad that I got the official sound. I need, you know what I need? A new, like a piece of equipment that would be good for this because of the little, sound bits and stuff we do, is they have the things that are like mixers for podcasts that plug into your computer when you're recording, and it has hotkey buttons on it so that you can be like, button number 1 is the theme song, button number 2 is the list it bumper, whatever.
That's fun.
Yeah, those are cool. But every time I look up podcast equipment, if it says podcast in the...
It's automatically more expensive?
Yeah, it is, because podcasts are becoming a more and more popular thing, I guess. I don't know how to word it, but...
So it's like the podcast version of the pink tax?
Kind of, yeah. Definitely kind of like that. But anyway, this segment is called Listed. And, well, what are we doing here, Hannah?
We're going to talk about bucket list items.
I thought what I could kind of do is pull up a couple of articles that's like really common bucket list items, and then we could kind of talk about those, and then we could talk about some bucket list items for ourselves. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
So I'm pulling up a couple of like common bucket list things here, and for me it's kind of weird because I don't think I've ever really planned out my bucket list. Like, there are things that I want to do in my life, but I've never been like, that's on my bucket list. Mm-hmm. And so I guess this will be an interesting conversation. But
and I'm the complete opposite and have had a growing bucket list since I was a teenager and
Yeah.
realized that was a thing.
Yeah. I found a Reddit article that says, what are some of y'all's bucket lists items that somebody has? And a few of them here are seeing a rocket launch in Cape Canaveral,
That'd be cool.
visiting an active volcano, witnessing the northern lights in the Arctic,
Yeah.
hiking the Tour du Mont Blanc. I'm not sure what that is. Visiting the CERN particle accelerator. Someone said, make it to 60.
Practical.
Someone said, my biggest items are to get a PhD and see as much of the, and they misspelled world here,
Oh, no.
as much of the world as possible. I'd like to maybe write a book someday as well. Learn cinematography, travel, learn multiple languages, become a DJ, take a bunch of classes.
Oh, I get that. They just want to take, like, practical classes to learn different things.
Sure. Someone said to that person, the original poster's list said, all those things I can see on YouTube, etc. Like, I could visit the particle accelerator, or I could watch 1,000 science videos and use the money to buy some scientific kit to test one or more of my insights and my theories. My bucket list just involves visiting my favorite childhood beach and hopefully getting there once a year. It's a long, long way away.
Why?
Also, what? Like, what?
Whatever.
Learn to drum. That's just some. Write a book or two. We've seen that already. Someone said my bucket lists are airbrush, chisel, model kit tools, and of course the model kit itself. Also a microwave and a juicer.
What? Is that just items they want to buy?
Yeah, that's not what a bucket list is.
Oh, baby.
Anyway, so that's some from the Reddit post, and then I found a couple of articles, but
I feel like Reddit is always a weird rabbit hole that you just never know.
Yeah, I mean that's why there's so many podcasts that are Reddit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which we're gonna bring that back coming up. Not the next episode, but probably the next episode. We'll bring back some more Reddit stories. We haven't done that at all in season 2, and there's definitely plenty out there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just some from one post. There's tons of articles, and I've pulled up a couple here, but we don't have to go through each one. We can kind of go through some for ourselves, kind of talk out each one, and then see, where do we line up with some of the common ones. So why don't you get it started? What's a bucket list item for you?
Well, as far as like places to visit, my number one bucket list item is to go to New Zealand and see the Lord of the Rings tour, where you can go and see where things were filmed.
Yeah.
And see Hobbiton.
Yeah. And you can do the walk to Mordor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite a walk from what I understand, but the walk to Mordor in New Zealand. Walk the path to Mordor in New Zealand. Hiking up Middle-earth's Mount Doom. I'm trying to see how long it is. That's the...
Was the virtual challenge, was it supposed to be as long as the actual walk? I don't remember. I
feel like it is. How long is the trail to Mordor in New Zealand? It is approximately 19.4 kilometers, 12 miles hike that takes you through the area where they filmed Mordor in The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
If you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, you may know that the walk to Mordor, the full walk, is 1,779 miles.
So that's all the way from the Shire.
Yeah, that's the full walk, 1,779 miles, which that's in the, I'm assuming that's in relation to the actual book type of thing.
Yeah.
And supposedly it happened in 1-ish month of time. So
It's a lot of walking.
Them hobbits, they little legs did a lot of moving. But I'm trying to see how.
I wonder where you start, if their journey starts with... Anyway, that's interesting.
Somebody on Reddit was like, suggestions for walking from Hobbiton to Mordor, talking about, I'm going to go and I'm planning a blah, 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 blah. And somebody said, I hate being the one to tell you, mate, but one cannot simply walk into Mordor.
Oh, man, that's a meme that kind of drives me a little crazy, because they always attach it to the picture of Boromir forming the circle with his hand.
Yeah.
And that's not what is happening in that scene. He's talking about the Eye of Sauron, hence the circle. And so it's always like that's a little bit before that.
Sure.
That always drives me a little crazy.
So an interesting little behind the scenes for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've told you this already, but people on the podcast have not heard this. I learned it recently. But Sean Bean got that speech. They changed it some. And so they gave it to him the night before they were filming the scene. And the next morning he comes in and Peter Jackson's like, you got it? And he's like, yeah, totally. I've got it. And the reason he's looking down in the speech at times is because he has it taped on his leg. And so he's looking down like he's touching his forehead, like for effect, but he's looking at his spot in the speech to make sure he's got it down pat, because there were some changes that they were doing and stuff. And so he didn't know his lines perfectly, which I can't blame him. I'm sure that there's a lot of chaos when it comes to that. I've also heard that acting is actually incredibly awkward, because there's a lot of like, the finished product looks miles different from when they're filming it, especially today when they do so much of all the green screen stuff. And so it's like, I'm sure there's times when they're acting where it's just like, I don't even feel the context of this one little bit,
I mean, at least with the Lord of the Rings, except for maybe when you're having to talk with Gollum.
Yeah.
And Andy Serkis is there with his little skin tight outfit with the little ping pong balls all over him.
Mocap suit.
Yeah. Besides that, there was a lot of good practical effects, and like they built the sets and stuff.
They built the armor, they built the swords.
So at least you felt a little bit more in it, and especially Gimli, who had a reaction to the glue for the
he did,
and then was hallucinating that he actually was Gimli.
Yep, and on I think it was on the last day, they offered to him, do you want to burn the mask? And he was like very quickly like, yes, I do. I will gladly burn the mask, the prosthetic stuff you had to put on my face for this movie. That's crazy. He also was told that like they wanted him to calm down in his fighting scenes. Gimli's actor, John Rhys Davies, Davis, I think.
Is it Davis or Davies?
Davy. I don't, here, John Rhys.
And we're very
Davies,
quickly turning
Davies.
this into a Lord of the Rings episode.
John Rhys Davies, he was told a lot of times to like, hey, you need to back off in the fighting scenes, because he like broke some extras ribs and stuff whenever he was fighting, because he just got
so into
it. Partially hallucinations, partially just the actor himself. He was huge.
Well, and then thought that he was method acting, so everybody's kind of like, let him do his thing.
Yeah.
But
and he's a huge man. Ironically, he's the tallest person on the cast.
And was made to look like one of the shortest.
Yeah, exactly. I love okay. Anyway, let's move on. I too want to go to New Zealand, and doing the hike of Mordor would be very cool. That would be very cool.
So that's my number one location. Besides that, what would be a location that you really want to see?
To go to Ireland, Scotland, that area, to see the, I think it's called the Isles of Moher, or Moher. The Cliffs of Moher. Someone I knew went when they were in college. I think think they did a vacation or something like that, or a trip there, but whatever. They sent me pictures of the cliffs of Moher, Moher, Moher. Anyway, they sent me pictures of it, and it was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. And a lot of Ireland's land is just so open and, you know, beautiful nature and just I've got, you know, ancestors from there and stuff like that. So it'd be kind of cool if I could figure out what area my ancestors are from and go to that area, you know, type of thing. It makes me think of Rhett, you know, of Rhett and Link, Good Mythical Morning, whatever. He, for the longest time, talked about him being Scottish and, you know, proud Scottish heritage and yada, yada, yada. And he did this whole thing to go to Scotland and go to where his family was from and stuff like that. And he found out in the process that he was actually more Irish than he was Scottish, I believe. Anyway, I don't know what my percentages are. I know I have Irish and I know I have Scottish ancestors, and I know I have Dutch ancestors.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't really know.
So we go and spend some time in Ireland, and we'll just be there for World Redhead. What is it? Redhead Day, or is that in Scotland? I'm trying to remember. One of the two has like National Redhead Day, and it's a big festival of all of the different gingers of the world coming together.
National Redhead Day in Ireland. It is. The convention was held in Crosshaven, but is currently on hold. November 5th is National Love Your Red Hair Day. Oh, no. It's on hold. The convention is on hold currently. It was paused after 2020 and has not been brought back yet.
Really? I thought I saw a TikTok. Anyway.
Maybe that's the official thing. There's probably unofficial things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I was just looking at what the AI said right at the top of the page. So,
Okay.
you know, that's not always accurate. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
There's an episode about that. You should go back and listen to it after you finish this episode. Also, share it with your friends. Anyway, yeah, Ireland, Scotland, the Cliffs of Moher would be an incredible thing to partake. Also, since we're just talking about going to locations, I would love to go to Oxford in England, the university. That's a family member of mine went there for grad school, and also that's where C.S. Lewis and
J.R.R.
Tolkien were there, and they used to meet at a pub, the Eagle and Child pub, in Cambridge, or see the pub in New York, nicknamed the Bird and the Baby. There's a pub in St. Giles, Oxford, England, owned by the Ellison Institute of Technology, and previous blah 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 blah. So I believe you can still go there. Yeah, I believe you can still go to the pub where they used to meet and sit and talk, and where Tolkien led Lewis to Christ, you know, in time. And obviously there was Lewis's own journey as well, but Tolkien was always very open with him about his Christianity and stuff like that. And I actually saw a thing recently that was saying that Lord of the Rings, talking about Lord of the Rings one more time, that Lord of the Rings was not a religious book, that it was, you know, not intended to be religious. That's what people were saying. And then somebody pulled up an exact quote from Tolkien who said, obviously, Lord of the Rings is an inherently incredibly religious and Catholic book that I did not intend to in the original writings of it, but ended up being quite the religious text and story in its, you know, undertones and stuff like that. And it's so funny to me because Tolkien would make fun of Lewis for his allegory in the Chronicles of Narnia and stuff like that, but then wrote like 3 Jesus characters in Lord of the Rings, you know, and stuff like that. And there's so many Anyway.
So much allegory.
Yes, there's a ton of it. But that's neither here nor there. Give us more, Hannah. What a segue.
What a segue. So one thing that I want to do that we've talked about doing for my 35th birthday, which is here in a couple of years, is go to the Georgia Atlanta Aquarium and let me swim with the beluga whales, since they're my favorite
animal.
Yeah. Well, favorite marine creature, whatever.
Marine animal. I'll watch you. I'll watch you from the outside of the tank, and I'll be very happy for you. Sea creatures terrify me. They're scary.
Not damn though.
The ocean.
They're the canaries of the sea.
That's beautiful, but the ocean is scary, and a lot of the creatures in the ocean are scary. Did you not just watch that video game that I played that you watched me play? The ocean is scary. We're not going to get into it, but the ending of that game was frustrating.
I like watching scary movies, and so one thing that Noah has picked up recently is if there's like a horror video game or something that has a good storyline to it.
Yeah, if it has good ratings.
Yeah, he'll play it, and I watch him play because I am not a gamer by any means.
And I'm not huge on horror movies, although I have watched multiple with you in the last couple of weeks for...
Yeah, we finished the Scream franchise the other day.
Yep, because I had watched the most recent 2 in theaters with you, and then we went back and watched 1 through 4.
Yep, I told you had to watch the OGs.
Yeah, and
Which 1 and 2 were good.
I was about to say, 1 and 2 were well-made movies. They're not my thing, but they were well-made movies. But they definitely got worse as they went on. And then the most 2 recent after that, at least they were a little bit of a twist to it, kind of, but it still was, anyway. I'm glad that I could experience it for you, though. And now we're going to watch the rest of the Alien movies, early on Alien movies, because you had seen the first one in theaters, which we talked about here on the podcast.
And then we went and saw Romulus.
And then we saw the most recent one, Romulus. So we're going to watch Aliens and Alien 3. And then we're going to watch Alien vs. Predator and Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
Do I have to watch any more of the Predators before we watch Alien vs. Predator?
No.
Not really?
It's okay. It's okay. I feel like the Predator movies had a steep drop-off after the first one. And I could be wrong, but
that's how you remember it?
Yeah, that's how I remember it. I mean, I guess I could look up. We don't need to. Yeah, I'm going to look it up. Let's see what. Because the first one is Predator. Is the second one, or it's The Predator? No, The Predator was a 2018 film. Predator 2. Yeah, 30%. The second one has a 30%.
On Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah. The first one has a 80%, so that's how hard it dropped off.
Yikes.
Apparently, Prey is really good, which came out on Hulu. It's a.
I've seen trailers for it.
Yeah. It's a Predator
Is it in
movie.
that? Oh, so it's in that universe?
Yeah, it's in that universe. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Okay.
We can watch it too, because I remember. I think the Kutzler said it's really good.
Cool.
So we'll watch it too. We'll watch it after we watch the Alien movies, and we're doing quote unquote spooky movie nights during the spooky season, because I'm not huge on it. I like the sci-fi ones, like Predator and Alien and that type of stuff. But the
and he's getting into true crime with me.
Yeah,
Every now and then we just can't binge it all the time.
Yeah, I get too.
Paranoid.
Not paranoid, but just too well, I mean, when your job is you read the news as part of your job, like you hear about everything that happens in the area, and then you watch these shows and it's like, oh, and that's in another area. Well, okay, somebody's going to break into the house. And I don't think it directly, but in my, anxiety brain, it's like, all right, got to lock up the house, got to listen for every creak, I don't get that bad, but still, it's just like my brain runs sometimes whenever it. I think that and this is going to be controversial to horror fans, but I think that the world has gotten a little too desensitized to all that stuff.
I concur.
You know, I think the world and people have gotten, because they like listening to true crime and all this stuff, that they get a little too desensitized to that person is being murdered on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know. And
Even though I will say the female experience with true crime is different than the male experience with true crime.
Sure.
We've talked about that.
yeah, we've talked about it on here.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get back to listing bucket list items,
Yep.
because we've listed one. So
No, I've listed 2.
what was your second one?
The beluga whale.
Oh, duh. Well, I want to I want to see the Northern Lights. I would really like to see the Northern Lights.
In Alaska? Because I know we've talked about that.
That water is from a glacier in Alaska. It was blessed by an Eskimo medicine man.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it's always cold. Do you know what movie that's from? It's pretty obvious by what he's talking
Water
about.
Boy?
Yeah, it's The Water Boy. And I feel like my impression right there was pretty good.
Yeah.
But yes, I would love to go see the Northern Lights in Alaska. Stay in one of those,
The like igloo looking
clear
things.
clear
that's
top igloos. Yeah. I would love to do that at the right time of year, but it's so risky because you don't know if you're going to see it or not. And the night that we were supposed to be able to see it in the area that we were in, because of a weird electromagnetic anomaly in the weather or whatever it was, it was all cloudy.
It was so disappointing.
It was super cloudy, and so we didn't get to see it at all.
But people back home in North Carolina got to see it.
Yep. Talking about North Carolina, I guess we should say this directly, but our I mean, this sounds so dumb, but our thoughts and it's not dumb, but so cliche, I guess. But our thoughts and prayers are with the people in North Carolina, and we've been praying for help to be mobilized quickly in those areas, as it's scary in some of those areas.
It is. Asheville's last I read, Asheville was completely landlocked. Like there is no getting in or out.
All the roads
Asheville
have either washed out or flooded over, or so you can only get in by air. And Chimney Rock the downtown area doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the Lake Lure area, which is a famous location filming wise. That's where Dirty Dancing was filmed, and so that's pretty scary too.
And I know the like in the Cherokee area going up into Tennessee, a lot of that got washed away.
Yeah.
So what is that? Eastern Tennessee, Western
North Carolina
is struggling,
and Southwest Virginia were all heavily affected by that. And then Florida was heavily affected.
Parts of Georgia.
Yeah. So all that southeast corner of the country are just heavy affected.
I know because I have family in Ashe and Allegheny counties, and I was told that Ashe had the worst flooding of its history.
Yeah.
That there had not been any other flooding even remotely comparable to that. And seeing all of the pictures and the videos of, people sharing my hometown.
Right.
It's devastating. My parents still don't have power.
Right. And Asheville, the French Broad River or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but it crested to over its record amount height ever the other day during its flooding. So just to take a moment to say, a prayer for them. And if you can support somehow, there are lots of organizations that are going to help there and stuff like that. And so just wanted to make a moment to acknowledge that and to give our condolences, I guess. And I wish that we could be there to mobilize help and to help, but it's
24 hours away right
and
now.
It wouldn't be safe to travel there anyway to help. So, safe nor practical, you know what I mean? So, anyway, let's keep moving. But the Northern Lights have always been a dream of mine to see. So,
yeah,
I guess that would technically be a bucket list item.
Okay. So when I reach my goal weight in this weight loss journey that we're currently on,
Yep.
I want to go skydiving.
Yes, and I will ride on the plane with you, and I will meet you at the ground.
Yeah. And I want to pay for the extra package where, like, there's the video footage, you know,
Yeah.
because especially for, like, your first whatever mini jumps or whatever, you're, oh, what's the word? You're strapped in.
Yeah, you're attached
to a guide or whatever. And there's always, you know, you see the package where it's like maybe like a GoPro, I guess, that
that's
hangs out.
Yeah.
And you get the whole video footage of it.
Yeah.
I want that. I'll probably scream like a baby, but I want it.
Somebody on one of these articles there it was a top 10 bucket list ideas. One of them was get married. So check that off the bucket list.
I feel like we've gotten to do quite a bit of stuff with traveling and, you know, just our lifestyle in general.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about it, and I've had the pleasure to be able to perform in either 9 or 10 states now, and that's not a thing that a lot of people get to do, is travel with their music, and it's not necessarily, I coined this last stretch of shows a quote unquote tour, and it's not like I've got an agency and I'm booking a tour and all these people are paying tickets to come to these shows, but at the same time it is kind of a tour in the sense that, I get to travel with my music. I get to perform in front of people in all kinds of places and stuff, and that's very cool. That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
So.
And even where we're at now, you were able to pick up not only Nebraska, but also South Dakota.
Yeah.
We're close enough to like the Cheyenne, Wyoming area that
Yeah.
if you were able to pick something up there and
Yeah,
then
for sure.
in Colorado.
Yeah. I would like to play the surrounding areas. I just haven't done it yet. I'm looking at this list here. Some people say go to space. This is on their bucket list.
I don't necessarily care about space, but I would like to do one of those zero gravity, like the plane ride.
Oh, Lord. Those are, yeah.
Oh, I know they're so expensive, and it's totally impractical. Impractical.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a cool experience.
Here's one. Go skinny dipping.
I have no desire to do that. None whatsoever.
We don't need to get into it.
Well, I mean, I would not be able to have a good time because I would be worried that I would get written up or a ticket for like public indecency or something.
It doesn't have to be in a public place. You could go skinny dipping in your hot tub in your backyard.
Maybe. Then I'd be worried that my neighbors would see me.
If you have a fence, no one's going to see you.
Okay, that is the only time that would... Then I would be afraid somebody would show up at the house and like ring the doorbell.
Yeah,
my anxiety could never. Let's just be honest here. I'd be like, here, throw a towel on. You get to go talk to him.
In a towel?
Yeah.
That's not how that works. This one says dive the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. I do want to go.
I would love to see the
deep sea diving.
Deep sea diving.
Well, maybe not deep sea, but like, how
many
like
sharks
scuba diving and stuff.
Sure, in areas like the Great Barrier Reef where it's kind of shallow and sure, that's fine. You're not deep sea diving. I can't say you're not, but you know how many shark movies we've watched, Hannah?
I know. I kind of want to go down in a cage.
No. How many times have they broken through those in the movies, Hannah?
In the movies, Noah.
So what? There's a reason that there's a definite reason that these things happen in movies because it's happened in real life. Do you not understand how scary the ocean is?
I know somebody who would dive with sharks, and not just in cages. Like she free dived with sharks. I don't know if she still does it now.
Is she a white woman?
No, actually, she is Hispanic.
Oh.
She's really cool.
I don't know why I brought up that, but anyway.
Oh, I know why you brought that up, because there's that one guy on TikTok that's like, white women aren't afraid of nothing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Get soaked on the Maid of the Mist.
I've done that.
I haven't, but we have seen
But
Niagara Falls.
we're
now,
gonna
and
go
we're
back.
Go back. Yeah.
Well, that might be a fun thing to do with the group if we could talk them into going to Canada.
Yeah, except for the problem is Niagara Falls area is so expensive and it's just so touristy. You know what I mean?
But you could go for like 2 or 3 nights, do all of the touristy things, and then we could go find a place in Canada, like go do some hiking and stuff. There's more to Canada than Niagara Falls.
Maybe so. It's just it would be a harder trip. That would be a much harder trip than just going somewhere. You know what I mean? Like dive with dolphins.
I haven't dived with them, but
you swam with them.
I've swam with them.
Yeah.
I got to do the whole where you hold on to the dorsal fin and the fin on the side, and they basically carry you through it.
Start a fire without matches.
I've never done that.
That would be, I don't know if that's a bucket list item, but it would be kind of cool to be able to start a fire without, like with just a starter or something, you know.
I would, the one person said about taking a bunch of classes.
Yeah.
I would love to take some survival classes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like discovering, especially in whatever area that we settle in, if there was one where you could learn about like the, botany, is that the word I'm looking for? Like
learning like about foraging and stuff.
About all of the things that's around, what's poisonous, what's not, because there's a ton of different mushrooms. But I would be scared to death to learn or to pick any wild mushrooms. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what's healthy, what's poisonous.
You want to take a hippie class.
I do want to take a hippie class. And then just learning basic survival skills. That way, if something was to ever happen, we were out camping and got lost or whatnot, we wouldn't be completely defenseless.
Right. Visit the Sistine Chapel. That would be very cool.
That would be really cool.
I don't know about this, but there's something tangentially to this, and it's be a New York Times best-selling author. I don't want to do that, but I do want to finish my book. I have one chapter written, and that's it. And I have kind of an idea, but I haven't really fleshed it out, you know. I don't know exactly where I want to go with the story, but I wrote the first chapter kind of introducing the main characters and stuff like that, and got some feedback from people, and they enjoyed it. So I think it would be very cool to write a book and self-publish it, type of thing. At least have a printed copy of my book, type of thing. But
it would be cool. I kind of want to write, we've thrown around so many ideas for a murder mystery book.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to write that together.
That would be cool.
Because we've, maybe under some pseudonyms.
Yeah, especially if I'm working in the church. I probably don't need to come out with unless it's a Christian murder mystery.
No.
The detective is a priest.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No. I'm nixing that idea right now. We're not doing that.
As long as we can at one point put in the murder mystery cue the Who, like it's just like a speaker accidentally comes on or something, and it's just like, yeah.
That's CSI.
I know, but he did detective work.
Yeah.
They were part of CSI, like, which is Crime Scene Investigation Unit, which is normally like they do the forensics and stuff. But on that show, they were like also detectives, or he was like the Horatio or whatever, what the main guy.
Yeah.
Was also kind of a detective, but he was part of the. I don't know, that normally you see the CSI come in and they like do the fingerprinting and like the dusting for the fingerprints and the pictures and all that stuff. They're not the people doing the they're not the detective, you know. So I always thought about that even as a kid. I was like, wait a second, but
I always thought it would be really cool because, forensic radiology is a thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have to live in a big, big city for that. But I've always thought, that would be so cool. I don't know if there's extra classes you have to take or what all's involved with that, but I would love to learn more.
I have a response to that.
Are you looking up the song?
Hold on, I have a response to that.
shook his head. He was headbanging so hard he lost his
my
headphones.
headphones. Hold on.
Aw, dang, and we don't have a video going this time.
We didn't have video for the NFL themes either. That would have been a good show as well. I've done that working at the radio station, listening to a song before. Luckily, no one was there whenever I did it. Got too into listening.
You got going that hard for a country song?
No, it was whenever I was playing my 2 classic rock songs an hour, because that's the format.
What was the classic rock song that you lost your headphones
I don't
to?
remember. I play a ton of...
No.
Hannah, if I remembered every single song I played, I would be like Rain Man if I... You've never seen that movie, Rain Man?
I don't think so.
Is the movie... I think it's called Rain. It's not... Yeah, it's called Rain Man, yeah. It's a weird movie. Anyway, it's got an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's good, but it's weird. See the Taj Mahal at sunrise. That would be very cool.
What does the sun rise directly behind? Like, is it just known for its beautiful sunrises?
I don't know. I'm just looking at it.
I mean, the Taj Mahal is it's gorgeous, and that would be a really cool thing to see. I had never heard that little bit about the sunrises before.
Oh, here's one. Eat crawfish in Louisiana. Check.
Well, I haven't done that. I haven't been to Louisiana yet.
You've also not eaten real crawfish yet. So the time that you had crawfish did not count. The boiled crawfish
well, I've
you
had it, but I've had it in stuff.
But I'm talking about
like quote unquote Cajun restaurants.
But I'm talking about, and you've had it in gumbo one time.
Yeah.
Because I made gumbo, and we had found those crawfish tails from a company that I knew from.
Which were actually incredibly good in the gumbo.
Yeah.
And I love how you served it. Was it my dad? You served it to my dad and didn't say anything about, and he had no idea.
And he does not like seafood.
Even though he was all like, I don't like
I don't like seafood. I don't. Which same thing happened with. Does he still listen to this?
I don't know.
Well, same thing happened with the tomato sauce because we were talking about how you can beef it up with protein by adding unflavored protein and stuff like that. And it's really good and you won't even notice it. And he's like, oh, I would notice. I wouldn't like that. As he took a bite of doing exactly what we did.
And then literally complimented, was just like, your sauce is so good.
Yep. Which I just made a big batch of sauce, which we need to clear out the freezer somehow so we can.
Yeah.
We need to freeze those.
You want to do pizzas for dinner tomorrow?
Well, we can. Now everybody knows what we're eating for dinner tomorrow is pizzas. They're not full size pizzas. Just to give it's either going to be on cauliflower crust or it's going to be on these little pitas that are 60 calories a piece, and then you put the sauce on there. You put your toppings, and all in all, you're probably. Which we do turkey pepperoni and we'll do some veggies, usually. And all in all, it's probably less than 200 calories for a pizza. And it's high protein because the sauce that I make is, ground turkey is in it for one, which is a high protein source. But also I add unflavored protein powder in there.
As your thickener.
It thickens with the tomato paste, but it just adds hidden protein with no change of flavor at all, and the sauce turns out pretty dang good. So, but we definitely need to freeze that because I made that earlier this week, and it needs to get frozen. We just have a small freezer here, so
we do. It's teeny tiny.
But anyway, moving on. Do you have more bucket list items for yourself? Because you've done 3.
Something like that. Well, and then I talked about some of them. I've been to the Grand Canyon. I know you haven't been.
I would like to.
I want to go. I want to take you to the Grand Canyon, and I know that you have zero interest in this, but I want to do where you ride down the Grand Canyon on a mule.
Yeah, I would. I'd probably do that.
I don't. As far as I know, they still do it. Last I heard, there's like a 2-year waiting list on it.
It's crazy.
So I guess technically we could go ahead and put ourselves on that waiting list.
Maybe so. I mean, if it just doesn't work out to do it, we can just go and see it, and then, hopefully.
Will you walk out on the glass bridge?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I don't think it's like a bridge to something. I think it's just like the platform goes out, and you can choose to go out as far as you want.
Well, you
on
said
it.
a bridge to something, and now I'm triggered because I thought about
Shut up.
bridge to Terabithia.
Oh. No,
And
no.
I thought about the day I proposed to you. And
Hey, you proposed to me after I scared you to death.
That's
so
true.
you must
Well,
really love me.
I had already known what I was getting into when I got there, So, but I think I've told this story.
I'm pretty
on
sure we
here,
have,
but,
yeah.
The incident, I haven't been the same since the incident.
But you went out on the bridge the other day on
Sure.
our walk.
Yeah.
It was an old railroad bridge.
Yeah, a railroad turned into a walk. It's a railroad track that's been turned into a walking trail.
It's part of that Rails to Trails
initiative.
But that bridge is pretty high up, and it's over the Niobrara River. And you walked across that, and I know it's more sturdy and it doesn't sway and stuff, but you walked across that with no problem.
Sure, that, and also the wind was not blowing like crazy like it was when we were up on that mountain.
Yeah.
Like the winds were just like...
Well, when they do dollar days, it's the off season.
Yeah.
And so it was just the cheaper time to be there, and especially if we're paying for 3 of us to be there.
Yep. Shout out to
Keenan.
Shout out to Redacted for being there and shooting a video of it happening, and also walking off whenever I was about to do it. And so we just had to awkwardly wait for him to come back. But he was there.
It wasn't awkward. We were sitting there talking.
I know. I felt awkward because I was antsy about doing it. Like, I didn't feel awkward. I felt antsy. That's a better word for it. Soak in the Blue Lagoon in Iceland. That would be very cool.
Iceland
I'd love to go to Iceland.
Is high on my list. My cousin Desiree went, and her pictures are gorgeous.
I've done this one. Join a flash mob.
I've not done that.
I was for the Harlem Shake back in 2012.
Those movies, those listen to
videos.
me. Those movies.
Those movies.
Those videos were interesting. There were some very creative people in this world. Okay. Noah.
Now do the Harlem. I don't know why I was a part of it. Somebody posted it on the class of 2016. Ooh, I graduated college in 2016.
I was getting ready to say that'd be for college.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was a freshman in college, and they did like an LSU one, type of thing.
Oh, gotcha.
And they were like, it's going to happen at this time here and stuff.
I bet you could find that somewhere.
Oh, yeah, it's there. You cannot see me. It's because it's such a large group of people. I was just there, But
kind of like how you were an extra in
Pitch Perfect, because it was filmed on campus. Yeah. Cannot see me. Cannot see me. Anyway, moving on.
I want to ride.
I forgot where
I want to ride.
Recording right. I zoned out completely and just started reading.
I want to ride the Blue Ridge Parkway from one end to the other.
Oh, that would be very cool. It would take quite a while.
Yeah,
but it would be very cool.
It'll probably be a few years.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a lot of damage to it right now
and they take forever to do any kind of fixes on it.
Yeah.
This is just from a song. Be surrounded by a million fireflies. You would not believe your eyes.
10 million fireflies.
That would be terrifying.
Yeah. No, I don't know, man. Standing in a field full of fireflies is kind of cool. I've
Sure.
done that.
If they were surrounding you,
yeah,
it would. And
it's
10
not
million
literal, Noah.
Hannah.
Noah.
Anyway, Hannah. I hated that. Visit all 50 United States.
Yeah, that's on my list.
I would like to do that.
Which we've done several.
We have done quite a few. I would like, this is for myself, I would love to go visit some of the biblical locations. I would love to go to Thessalonica and to Philippi and those areas, and I'd love to see
The Dead Sea. Yeah.
and stuff like that. That would be very cool to do. Obviously not right now.
Yeah.
But to see Israel would be very cool as well. So that's one for me that I just thought of. To play music internationally would also be one for me.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be very cool to, even if it's just one show in Canada, just to play internationally. Would be very cool. Very cool. You got any more before we start wrapping things up here? We're kind of we can keep going. We can keep talking about stuff. Drive Route 66. I would like to do that.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That would be very to drive. A bunch of it would be very cool. Do you have any more? Because I'm just reading a list right now.
I would like to go, and I guess this is going to sound a little provocative. I don't mean it that way. I would like to go to an adult-only resort somewhere tropical, like like Bali, or you know what I mean. Like,
and you mean adult only in the sense that there's just it's got an age limit, usually 21 plus, and that just makes it quieter and calmer and not
so
that
you're not sitting by the pool and little Johnny and Susie running around screaming and doing cannonballs into the pool.
It's not that we necessarily have a problem with kids or anything like that. It's just like when you are not the adults with kids and you're trying to have a relaxing time, and the adults with kids are also trying to relax, so they're really not paying attention to their kids sometimes. It's like, come on, like I just want to relax, and it's so loud right now.
Yeah.
That's a good one. This right here is interesting. We were just talking about the Grand Canyon. Kayak in the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I've seen that.
That'd be very cool.
So do you remember when we went to the Apostle Islands?
Apostle Pylons.
Yeah, the Apostle Islands, and we did the boat tour.
Yeah.
Where you can also kayak.
Yeah.
In the Apostle, like in those caves and stuff.
It would have been freezing.
Oh,
that
yeah,
day.
you don't want to do it. You don't want to go. We were trying to hit it at the time where you could see the pretty leaves and stuff, and so part of it was really pretty, like the drive and stuff.
Yeah,
but anyway,
apparently on Lake Superior, the trees are about 2 weeks behind the trees of the mainland because of the way the weather works or something. So it was beautiful getting there, but then when we got on the water and rode the boat, all the trees were still just green for the most part. It was really interesting. I did not know that. You got anything else?
I would like to do a safari.
A safari
in Africa.
My practical side does not like that idea.
Did you know that there are horseback riding safaris you can do?
No, and heck no.
I know you would be interested.
No,
just
not for you too. Lions and tigers.
And bears.
And
go by.
no bears, but rhinos and elephants. Elephants would be fine.
There also wouldn't be tigers in that. There's not tigers in Africa, right? Like that's a jungle cat, not a.
I was saying that there's tigers in Africa. There are tigers.
Did you just Google it?
They're not native to Africa, but they can be found in captivity in South Africa and other parts.
I'm not riding through a zoo, Noah.
You might be. You might as well be. You're riding through an even more dangerous version of a zoo. They can get to you there. And you want to be on a horse? The thing that a lion eats? Lions eat horses. And then they'll eat you in return. Hannah, you wanna dive with the... This is exactly what I was saying earlier. Hannah's a white woman who ain't afraid of nothing.
Spiders.
And she is scared of spiders, and she'll call it a big one when it is not a big one.
Shut up. It is too a big one.
If they're the size of a nickel, they're not that big.
Yes, it is.
I don't like spiders either, to clarify, but...
I'm cool with the big old garden spider that's outside.
Well,
he's actually kind of pretty.
I don't know about pretty, but yes, you are cool with it because it eats the flies and stuff.
And you know the thing with spiders is if they're outside, it's fine. What's not cool is when it's in my space.
MySpace. I thought it died.
Because the first morning, Aowen, you're okay. The first morning that we were here,
Yeah.
no, I guess it was after we were here by ourselves, because the landlord's family was still doing some stuff the first couple days we moved in. But I went upstairs. I was upstairs doing something, and I went to the bathroom upstairs, and I swear this spider, and it was a good size spider. It was like the size of the tuft of my thumb. Decided I watched it. It was out in the hallway because I leave the door open because Aowen gets antsy if you close the door. And so I left the door open, and it was looking at me and ran straight towards my foot. And I jumped up and awkwardly did a little dance around it.
Do a little dance.
And it just hung out on the little rug thing that sits right in front of the toilet. Like it was this is my toilet. And I was like, you son of a gun. So I went and found something. I don't even remember what it was and killed it. But I was so freaked out after that now I'm hunting spiders.
There's been a few. They're mostly wolf spiders, which are fly eaters and stuff like that. So, but they are creepy looking.
Fast.
Yeah, they're creepy looking. Some food bucket list items here. Eat a beignet at Cafe Du Monde, which I know you would like to do one day. I have done that, and it's delicious. Shuck an oyster.
I don't really have any desire.
I don't have a desire to eat them, but I'd like to learn that skill. I mean,
doing a cooking class.
That would be very cool.
That would be a lot of fun.
Have you seen these things where you dine in complete darkness?
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun either.
Why?
I don't know. You're
It's
not
like
able to see what you're eating.
It enhances the taste and smell.
If you really wanted to do it, I would, but that's not something that I'm
also
looking out.
Those types of things are very expensive. So if you're not into it, I'm not gonna do it. Learn how to make a perfect omo rice, which is that. I know you've seen the videos. It's the Asian dish where they make the omelet, like the soft scrambled omelet, and then they cut it and it overlays the rice perfectly. Yeah. It'd be cool to learn how to do that and be able to do it.
I want to go to Japan
and eat
and try real sushi.
Yeah.
Even better, if there's a class you can take on how to make real sushi over there.
That'd be cool.
And then you can eat what you make.
Here's one that I had not thought about, but cook for a famous chef. And this is a bucket list item for me.
You want to cook for Guy?
I want to go on Guy's Grocery Games. I have watched every single episode of that show that I have been able to watch. I'm sure not all of them are on Max yet, but every single episode of that show, all 30-something seasons, I have watched every episode. And I'm a big fan of Guy in general. I like Guy. I always have since I discovered him on Food Network, and he's like 60% of Food Network's programming now, type of thing. But he seems like such a real, genuine person who is, I've never heard a bad word about him,
He seems like a cool celebrity.
Yeah. And so I would love to go on that show and compete. That would be a very cool experience. And they do have home cook episodes, where all the competitors are home cooks, and that'd be a lot of fun. So that's one for me. Do you have any more for you before we kind of wrap things up here?
Let's see here. I had a couple, and then you started talking, and my brain just dropped it. I want to do where you can ride the horses on a beach.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And especially if you're able to go out and quote unquote swim with the horse.
Yeah.
I've ridden in rivers and some deeper parts and have done that, but never in the ocean. And I want to be able to actually canter on the beach, not just walk. I want to go someplace where if you actually have experience,
Yeah.
you can let the horse run a little bit. So
That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Here's a fun one. Dig for dinosaur bones.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
That would be cool. A one for me that I thought about would to either go to the college national championship or the Super Bowl would be so cool. The Super Bowl is actually in New Orleans this year, which would be incredible.
You'd have to win those tickets.
Yeah. I'd have
They're
to,
so expensive.
They are. They're very expensive. But it would be, if somehow I got the chance to go to one of those, that would be, I'd be over the moon. It wouldn't even matter to me who's playing. Just to get to experience it, I'd be over the moon. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's my meathead jockiness coming out there.
That's okay. That's okay.
But anyway, I think we can call it there.
Yeah.
That was a good episode of just talking about stuff. I guess a return to old form a little bit, you know. But yeah, everybody's got bucket list items. If you got some bucket list items, hopefully this kind of sparked your thoughts of that, because everybody deserves to do fun stuff with their life. Life, it should be more than living, going to work, surviving, coming home. And some people,
I wish life was a little more affordable.
Yeah, I agree. And I do wish that people were able to do more of their bucket list things. But bucket list items don't have to be expensive things either. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. You know, you can find joy in the everyday, and you can find things and learn a new skill. You know, learn how to paint or draw or, you know, whatever. Those are low entrance rates, you know, type of thing.
I'd love to take a photography class.
Yeah, that would be
with
great.
A good teacher, because you know, sometimes community colleges, they're like, oh yeah, you take photos, why don't you teach this class?
Yeah, for sure.
But with a good photographer who could like show me how to properly use my camera and stuff.
That'd be a lot of fun. I do love photography. But anyway, we're going to call that for another episode of A Little Off the Top with your hosts,
Hannah
and Noah. Thank you so much for listening in. Rate us 5 stars where you can rate us. Share with your friends if you liked it. And if you don't like it, what do they do, Hannah?
They just ignore it.
That's right, because there are a million other podcasts out there. Scroll on, press the skip button, whatever the case may be. But you did listen to this episode if you're hearing this now. So anyway, that's going to do it for another episode of A Little Off the Top. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.